This was the day of my second DWI, which was a week after I got off of my probation for my first DWI. And it was one of the worst nights of my life. My name is Jacob. I was born in Las Vegas, New Mexico to a single mother where I had to stay with my grandparents in Las Vegas while my mom went to school here in Albuquerque. And there was never a father in the household at any time. I never grew up with a dad. I never knew my dad. But that just was unfortunate because that meant that there was no one else there to really see the intense abuse that my grandparents would impart on each other that bled onto me and my little brother. So when my mom was finally able to move us to Albuquerque, I was in a completely new city, but there's still like this gap in my life that I really didn't understand why it was there. But I always had an attraction to substances, and I was always had a fascination with it, so that eventually filled that gap. And over the years past high school, that had compounded into an intense drug addiction problem and drinking problem that just blew up into two DWIs of psychosis, mental trip, and I had a final commitment to a mental hospital where I spent 7 days there, where I had no contact with my family at all, and they all had thought that I was dead. My mom is such a saint for everything that she has endured with me. I have terrified her on so many occasions and just really put her through so much. She just walked in on me with my wrists all bloody, and it just got completely silent, and just the terror in her eyes. She just ran right away to go get some gauze pads and to anything to help me. I just remember my mom just lightly damping the cuts on my wrists and wrapping them and stuff, and she would come in occasionally throughout the night just to check on me and just make sure that I was alive. She was so terrified that I was gonna kill myself in that room, and that she was just gonna walk in on just a bloody mess, and her son would no longer be there, and it was just visceral, bro. It was bad. When I was arrested for my second DWI, it was I was at a I was at just the point I was at the point of defeat. I was at the point where I just didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. There was just no point to anything. I just got arrested again. I just got off from my first DWI. I was done with that, and I'm just going right immediately back in there. And I was just at a loss. And I remember the cops were being very just good. They were being good people. They saw that I was just struggling, and they didn't give me any flack or made me feel bad about myself or anything. But I was just at a point where I didn't see another way out. So when they brought me into the station and they took me over to the breathalyzer machine, I wasn't gonna do it this time just because I knew kind of already how the program works. So I just wasn't gonna do it. My eyes slowly tracing from the machine over to the table it was on. And in a flash, in a second, I just saw a way out, and I just started slamming my head against the corner, screaming, "Please kill me, just let me die, just please kill me." And the next thing you know, there are four cops just trying to stop me, trying to grab me and just stop me from doing it, while I'm just a snotting, crying mess, and just screaming about how much I want to die. And they had to call the ambulance because I was a threat to myself, and that's when they committed me to the hospital. It was that night, and that was yeah, it was rough. Was that good? I don't think that was very good. Hold on. The Jacob a year ago, I feel like almost wouldn't believe the Jacob that he sees before him. The light at the end of the tunnel was so far away that back then all I saw was darkness. All I saw was this hope, a hopelessness and despair, and this hatred towards myself. So I really think I would be astounded if I were to look in the mirror and see me smile again at myself, just to like, because that just didn't even feel possible to me at the time. Oh, what keeps me sane at the moment is being back in school because I had dropped out, and that like was part of like what going through it, like coming back to school was a difficult process, and being back now, like what's keeping me sane is like my classes, because I have a lot of really good classes with a lot of great professors this semester, and one of them is my creative writing class, which I've really taken very seriously, and it's really impacted my life in a really positive way, because now I'm find myself going to open mics and performing my poetry live to people and getting reactions and getting like positive feedback and knowing that people are enjoying what I'm putting out in the world. It just feels so good to be able to put myself out there now, not hide and destroy myself like a little addict, like a little struggling person that is too afraid to take a hand. I'm taking hands all over, I'm high-fiving people, I'm meeting people, I'm making people smile, and that's just endlessly rewarding. That's a reason enough to not go back, to me at least, is to not go back to that place of drowning, is because now I have a real sense of responsibility, that I have this gift to write and create and film, and it's just like if I'm not going to use that, then what am I doing? Then I'll just turn to it again. I can't, but that fire is burning too bright right now. And like, I just got too many goals and ambitions and ideas to really let myself slip into a place where I'm just unmotivated and not even, and just afraid to touch the page, just afraid that like I won't be able to create anything good, because I'm not afraid of that now. Like, just I know I'm a great artist, and that is just a reason for me enough to continue being an artist rather than a drinker and an opioid addict.